If you're thinking about buying a smartphone so you can become a content creator, then you're in for a real treat today because I'm at VidCon 2018 with Andru Edwards from Gear Live.
Yes.
Andrew, how's it going?
It's going well. How you doing, man?
Man, this is my first YouTube event, so I'm like, up and can't wait to meet everybody.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, and thanks for doing this. I appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
Happy to.
So the first question I want to ask you, if somebody's out there and you're thinking, all I can afford is a phone, or maybe all I have is a phone, is that good enough to be a content creator? What would you say to them?
I would say yes.
Yes.
You know, I would just start right off by saying yes. There obviously are going to be some caveats to what you can do with a camera, but if all you can afford is either nothing, just the camera that you already have in your pocket,
right.
Start there. There's no reason to wait until you can afford some fancy bigger camera. Now, if you do have a little money and you want to get, like, you know, you still can only afford a phone, but you want to get something with the idea that you're going to use it specifically for content creation, right. There are some tips there.
So if somebody has to go shopping to get a new phone, I mean, it's overwhelming. You go into the shop and there's so many things to choose from.
Right.
Is there something that they should look for? A certain sort of certain specs for a camera, or things they should stay away from, maybe?
Yeah. I would say, especially when it comes to smartphones, I feel like the phrase "you get what you pay for" really does apply.
Okay.
So, and luckily there's not a big disparity in smartphone pricing at least when compared to like DSLR pricing. So I'd say if you go for a camera that's roughly $600 or more, I would say you're safe to use that camera, and you could probably even, you know, use it for a couple of years without needing to upgrade as it pertains to making videos. So for example, I have an iPhone 10. The cool thing that I like about this, and you'll find this on other phones as well, Samsung Galaxy S9, the next Google Pixel that's coming out, the Pixel 3.
I'm looking forward to that one.
Yes, the Pixel 3 is going to be a great phone, especially with the camera. If you, by the way, if you need just the best camera on any phone, Pixel, get the Pixel 2. The photos on that thing are phenomenal.
So Pixel 2, hands down, best camera out there.
For still photos.
For still photos.
For still photos, Pixel 2, hands down. For video, though, this is my favorite phone for video. And the reason that I like the iPhone is because, at least this model and the iPhone 8, they let you choose what your frame rate's going to be. So prior to these phones, even Apple didn't allow you to choose your frame rate. They just went at 30 frames per second, and that was pretty much it. Now, by default, you can go into the settings and say, I want to do 24, which is what I shoot at 24 frames per second.
For somebody who might not know, what's the importance of changing the frame rate? Why would they want to do that?
Okay, so the frame rate determines the look and feel of your video. And it's hard to see it if you're just looking at one video, but if you put them side by side, it becomes pretty apparent. If you're watching, let's say, a soap opera on TV versus, I don't know, Game of Thrones or something, you will see a very obvious difference in the way the characters look and the way they move. I'm not talking about makeup or clothing, but just the motion and the depth of field behind them and all of this. So 24 frames per second is what they shoot in cinema. So if you're watching a movie in the movie theater, that's what you're seeing.
And that's what you shoot in.
That's what I shoot in. Because I do tech videos, by the way, which is why I'm on your channel. So I do a lot of close-ups.
The man, by the way.
Appreciate that. So I do like a lot of close-ups, cinematic shots of devices, of gadgets. And so I want to have that nice, like, movie quality feel to it. Even though it's not a movie, my videos are like 5 minutes long, but I want to have that cool feel to it. Alternatively, you can go up to 60 frames per second. And again, the iPhone and the Samsung Galaxy S9, those are the two phones right now that let you do 60 frames per second in 4K.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And 4K, by the way, I would recommend as a bottom line. Don't publish in non-4K unless you have to like crop in or something and the shot got messed up. Because I found, it's just a YouTube tip, anything you can give YouTube that creates a badge on your video, which would be 4K, closed captioning. I don't know what the other badges are, but at least those two. Any of those badges.
All the badges.
The more you can have badged on your video, the more they'll surface it in different areas.
Pro tip.
So 4K is one of those badges, and so I always shoot in 4K, and I want a phone that lets me shoot in 4K. The iPhone, Samsung Galaxy S9, they both let you do that at 60 frames per second. Why would you want to do 60 frames per second? Those videos are huge video files. But if you're doing gaming,
it's double the size.
Yes. If you're doing gaming, it's 60 frames per second is a no-brainer. If you're doing a lot of slow-mo shots, 60 frames per second allows you to slow things down a little bit without getting that choppy look when you do the slow-mo. So if that's the kind of content you want to make with like slow-mo shots or like pans and zooms and all that, I would say go for a phone that lets you do 60 frames per second as well.
How much of your actual workflow is done on your phone, from ideas to the final product?
Okay, so one thing, this is a real behind the scenes. I've never told anybody that this before. Right. People are always like,
exclusive,
man,
right here,
you always look like you know what you're talking about, and your videos are so smooth. What I use is an app called Evernote, and I put all my bullet points into Evernote, and then I have it open on my phone. And when I'm doing a video, I'm talking to the camera, in my hand is my phone by my side as I'm talking. And when I need to refer to something, I quickly look up at my phone, and the second my pupils are not looking at the lens, B-roll. Oh. B-roll is shown. I keep talking,
but B-roll.
No cut. So it's like, hey, this iPhone has 20 megapixels and can shoot in 4K, 60 frames per second, and
and
that's how I do it.
B-roll on top of that.
B-roll of the iPhone right there.
Game changer, right there.
Less editing.
You just changed the way
I don't need to edit. I don't need to edit. All I do is drop a little B-roll right there.
Right.
I always want my eyes to be connecting to the viewer. So the second my eyes are away from the lens, I just have B-roll there. So I don't have to wait, cut. Oh, what was I supposed to say again? Like none of that.
Right.
I just very smoothly do that. So the phone, any phone, definitely helps there. But the other thing, in a pinch, again, I use a Panasonic GH5. So that's my camera of choice, and I have a few different lenses for it. A couple weeks ago, I went to an event. I live in Seattle. I went to an event in San Francisco and forgot to put the GH5 in my bag.
Oh.
So I had this on me.
The fallback, right.
This shot all my B-roll. I went home, shot my A-roll on the Panasonic. I didn't say a word to anybody. Not one person has commented, what's up with the B? Why is the B-roll quality so?
Nobody knows.
You cannot tell. You cannot tell the difference, and that's how good these phones are getting now. So again, there's no reason to spend, $2,000 on the GH5 plus, $1,000 on this lens and $500 on that lens. You can do that, and there's certainly no reason to be part of the YouTube crew, at least in my niche. People like, as a badge of honor or whatever, I don't know why, they buy these red cameras. Have you heard of these?
Yes.
I'm on YouTube, and I'm buying a $100,000 red camera because... Why? I don't know.
So 50% of your viewers can look at it on your phone.
Exactly.
On
like,
and
what
they
are
can't
you
tell
doing?
the difference
What are you
anyway.
doing? You don't need any of that. But I think it intimidates people who are just getting started because they see all these other people. Look at this guy's camera. Look at his lighting.
It's
look
so
at
pro.
Look at this microphone, and I don't even know how to edit audio. Like, don't worry about all that stuff. Just like the best way to get started is to get started. Get started with what you have.
That's what I say all the time.
Yes.
Yeah, Nick, my brother Nick says it too.
Nick, big fan of Nick, by the way.
So, one question about recording: Are you using a native recorder, or do you use like Filmic Pro or some other sort of an app?
I use the native recorder.
Okay.
I also, when I use a gimbal, I have the DJI gimbal. I use the DJI Go app in conjunction with that gimbal. Okay. Gimbal is again a very nice way if you want to make your video look more professional instead of getting cinematic instead of buying expensive cameras. Use your phone. This gimbal is like $150, $149. It connects to your phone over Bluetooth. You can control all the functions right with your thumb on the joystick. And your video, as you walk around, it's smooth as butter. Like there's no need, again, there's reasons to have a DSLR. There's reasons to have a Micro Four Thirds camera. I'm sure there's even reasons to have a RED camera in this day and age. But if you're new, don't worry about all that stuff.
Just take your phone and get started.
That's
use
right.
what you've got.
That's right.
Upgrade later.
Yeah,
if you
exactly.
Want. You might not even need to.
Exactly. I think a lot of people upgrade just because they see other people. Like, they upgraded that. I need to. I upgrade my phone every year, partially because I do tech videos, but also I want the new thing. I want to have the new thing.
I'm rocking an iPhone 7.
and it made me laugh. I didn't even mean to.
He just laughed at an iPhone 7.
I didn't even mean to laugh.
But here's the thing, though. But you know what, though? They don't know.
Right.
What if I film something?
Oh wait, so you're saying you use that for your video?
Sometimes.
Oh, okay.
And for B-roll,
Right.
But if I record B-roll with it, and I mix it in with DSLR content, not one person has ever said, "Oh, the quality is worse there."
Right.
No, nobody knows.
Right.
Nobody cares.
No one cares.
They're there for the message.
The main thing with holding your phone is you have a shaky hand.
Right.
So that's why you just get a gimbal, $150. That cures that problem. That's the main problem. It's a shaky hand. Once that's done, you're over, and you can even stabilize in your video editing software as well. So there you go.
What do you edit with, by the way?
I use Final Cut Pro personally. I'm a Mac guy, and I have found, like, for me, it's all about speed. So I know Adobe Premiere can be more flexible, especially if you're on Windows, you can't use Final Cut Pro. Right. But for me, I've found Final Cut Pro is integrated better with the operating system and the hardware on the Mac. And when I hit export, it flies through. So that's why I use it. But I'm not a fanboy about it.
All right.
Use whatever works for you.
There you go. Use whatever works for you.
Use whatever works for you.
Yeah. Andrew, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
If people want to find you, how can they find you?
On YouTube, I'm youtube.com/gearlive, Twitter, Andru Edwards, and Instagram @Andru.
He's bringing that mobile or the tech hotness.
Tech hotness to the world.
right. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. If this is your first time here, be sure to hit the subscribe button, followed by the notification bell, so you can continue to learn how to master your mobile. And I will see you in the next video.